welcome back to Random Librarian here on YouTube. Today we are going to be talking about something that is very relevant in my current life, and if I'm being honest, was something that I thought about for a long time before moving to France, and that is international librarianship. So just to get it all out of the way, my caveats is that I am talking about this as an American who wanted to work in the rest of the world. So an American expat in France. I do frequently get questions about people who are from other countries who want to know about librarianship and getting an international position in the US. And I can't speak exactly to that, but I'm hoping that some of these tips and tricks might be applicable in the opposite direction as well. So that's kind of my little introduction, and I figured we could just jump right into it. So to start, I figured I would just talk about my current story and what's going on. I'm currently working in a university setting that is actually Anglophone. So I'm working in France, but I'm working with a collection that is primarily made up of English books, which is the exact opposite of what I did in the US because I worked in a French language library in Boston. Just makes me laugh a little bit. Then the way that I found this job was actually through LinkedIn. So I had set an alert on LinkedIn with the terms librarian and the location France. And this is one of the first jobs that popped up. I figured I would just apply for any jobs that didn't list nationality or French nationality or the ability to already work in France as a requirement. And then this one popped up, and I already know how to use the library system that they use. I have like weird connections with the school and between the school and my previous job, so it felt like they were looking specifically for me. So everything kind of fell into place with that, and I was really excited. So as a result, I did already have the specialized skills that they were looking for, in that I'm bilingual, I know how to use the library system that they use, I have my degree, so things like that are very helpful. But I still was really lucky in terms of finding this job and having it be kind of like a perfect fit. So I do want to put that out there, like this is kind of bonkers that it all fell together this quickly, that they were able to get my visa through very quickly, and that I was able to move essentially with like a month's notice. So I don't know if that's the normal way things happen because this is my first time working abroad, but just I feel very lucky, and I wanted to share that part as well. I think every time someone is looking for a job, whether it's international or not, it will always fall in a different pattern. So I don't think that necessarily your job search will go exactly the way mine did, but if it does, I'd be really glad for you because mine was pretty easy. So, like I mentioned before, I have wanted to work outside of the US basically since I started pursuing this career, and even before that. My mom has dual citizenship to Ireland, which if we had as her children, that would have made it much easier in terms of working in Europe or EU countries. So if you're able to do that, that takes care of your requirements for working abroad in the most straightforward fashion. So I'm still jealous of the Irish passport, and I was this close to being able to get a Swedish passport through my dad, but I was a little bit too old for them to, I guess, claim as a dependent. I don't know. I'm still kind of confused about that whole situation, but I had to go about it in the way that I explained to you before because I didn't have the passport that would have made this all seamless. But if you do have that passport, working in EU countries is much easier. Because I don't have that passport, because I'm coming from the US, here are some of the other ways that I explored in terms of trying to figure out how to get to the rest of the world, how to work in the rest of the world. There is this Kindle book that I read, and it's called How to Become a Traveling Librarian. I'll put the title and, if I can find it, the link in the description. So it's How to Become a Traveling Librarian, Tips, Advice, and Reasons to Go by Sarah P. Gibson, and this is what it looks like. So this is from the perspective of an American author who has spent the past I think at the time of writing it was 14 years working in different countries around the world. And the stats that they introduce at the beginning is that there are 500 plus American librarians employed outside of the United States, and that every year at least 85 schools in the rest of the world hire librarians to go and be a librarian in their school. So I think that from what I remember, it's been a while since I've read this, there was a lot of information for school librarians, and there are other sections of the book that talk about academic opportunities, public library opportunities, US government opportunities, special libraries and NGO opportunities, librarian exchanges, internship and volunteer opportunities, and then kind of other miscellaneous topics. So it is a good overview, and it does talk a lot about this specific librarian's experience. I believe she and her partner are both school librarians, so it talks about a family experience and how to make that work as well. And I don't know, it's very interesting. If you want an overview, I asked some questions before going that I thought were really helpful about like, why do you want to go? If you have a preference on where you want to go, things like that. For me, I guess why I wanted to go is I already speak French, and getting to really put myself into the day-to-day of French and get back to being like 100% fluent, as opposed to having lost a little bit here and there throughout growing up. So working in France is definitely helpful with that, and getting to travel and visit other places. And yeah, I really love it here, and I really love how close everywhere else I want to visit has suddenly become. Like, there's no 8-hour flight to get to Paris, it's a 40-minute train ride. So things like that for me have been really, really exciting. So that book, like I said, I will leave in the description if that is something that you are interested in checking out. I think I've only found it through Kindle. I don't think it's available through libraries, which is one thing that I would suggest that Sarah P. Gibson consider, since she is a librarian. Let's see. So, like the author mentioned in this book that I just spoke about, there are US government opportunities abroad, and some of them are specific for librarians. I do find their website very tricky to navigate, and their application process as well. I imagine a lot of that has to do with security and making sure that everything is as locked down as possible. But I just thought I'd point out it is a little bit confusing going through it. Even just figuring out which job titles are specific for librarians, because there's a couple that I'm like, maybe that's what they mean, but then they're talking about radio waves and like technicians, and that's more IT side than information science. So good luck if you want to go that route. It is very confusing to me. I've applied a couple times for jobs like that, but I think I did something wrong in each time that I applied because I was just very confused. One of the other things that I did go searching for was through the American Library Association. They have a couple of pages with links to other systems like the ALA in other countries and their job lines, but sometimes those have not been kept up to date or are dead links, outdated. Yeah, I mentioned that already. So you can find some gems that way, or find some other paths to more up-to-date information or more current information. But for me, I was kind of frustrated when doing that and didn't end up finding a job that way. This one is more for someone at the start of their career, but that is looking into working holiday visas, because there are quite a few countries that will allow young individuals, usually someone who's just graduated or an individual under the age of like 30, 35. There are these 1-year visas called working holiday visas, sometimes called other things. Again, I'll leave another link in the description, that allow people holding these visas to work a certain number of hours. There are different restrictions per country, but usually work a certain number of hours in order to kind of fund their travel, fund their vacation side of things. And if you're able to find a job in a library during that time, that could be a great way to get experience in an international setting in a library. So if you're looking more just to travel, it's a great way to travel without, or I guess before getting your first official library job. But if you can travel and work in your first official library job, I think that would be a great plan. I wish I had thought of this before getting my first full-time job, but I got my first full-time job as a librarian while I was finishing up my degree. So there wasn't really a lot of time for me to go and take a year and travel and do a working holiday visa. But I've also recommended it to both of my cousins at this point, and I hope that one of them will take advantage of that system, because what a fun way to spend the year after you graduate. So those are the ways that I researched international librarianship. The way that ended up working for me was what I think is kind of the easiest way, because LinkedIn did the searching for me. I didn't have to spend hours going through all of these lists and testing different links. And I'm thrilled to be here in France and to be working as an international librarian. It does kind of feel like a long-held dream has started coming true, and that feels pretty great. So if you have any questions about what I'm doing, where I am, international librarianship in general, I can answer the things about my personal experience, but I will try to find you answers for things about international librarianship in general, because I know it is an interesting topic and it is something that a lot of people want to do. But I'm by no means an expert. This is my first job in a foreign country, foreign for US standards, I guess. So yes, I might be better served giving you links and resources as opposed to direct advice. But I hope some of this was helpful nonetheless. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and/or clicking the subscribe button. I hope that you did enjoy it, and I will see you very soon if you would like to come back and see another video of mine.